Okay, Miss Gregory here. We're doing workbook lesson 2.8. You can see the pages from your book. This is the title Solving Percent Problems. And you can see the maths. It goes with ratio and proportions 1.3c. Make sure you have your supplies, which is your workbook, open to lesson 2.8, headphones, pencil, pen, whatever you need to take notes with, and your brain ready to listen and take note. Alright, if you've got it, then move on. Okay, I wanted to start with this, and somehow there was an error with the first recording. So instead of me doing all this work all over again, you already have the answers filled in for you instead of you filling it out and then coming back to check. So notice what's important: the vocabulary, startup, and you should have your information filled into the blanks. I have filled mine in with the purple ink. Okay, it would be great if you could try it on your own and then come back and check, but the answers are obviously there for you to see. Not sure if you can handle the temptation. Once you have everything copied, then move to the next page. And again, you see me already doing a lot of work with this problem and not able to fix it, so I'm going to walk through my steps here. Alright, this is one of the ways you have to know how to find the whole when you're working with percent. You have to be able to use these double number lines. Okay. If you look at example 1, it says 10 is 25% of what number? So the number lines that are given, the top number line represents the percent, and they are counting by 25. So 0%, 25%, 50%. The next scale is 75%, and ending with 100%. They have split it into equal parts. If you notice off to the right, I put a little bubble and an asterisk around that. In the blue writing, it actually says to model 25%, divided the number line into 4 equal parts. Just like when you're doing graphs, you want to have equal intervals when you set this up. Now the bottom number line is going to represent the number parts, which they gave you in the problem. 10 equals 25%, or 10 is 25%. So that's why I've drawn the purple line from 25% above straight down and connecting it to 10. Because that's what I know. I'm going to start off with 0. My next interval is 10, so I know that I'm going to count by tens and have equal intervals all the way up to the match for 100%. You can see that they have the little red arrows where they're jumping across and adding 10 each time. And if you look at the purple line where I connected the two number lines, 100% matches up to 40. And that information is also explained to the right in the blue type, and my information circled in orange. Okay. So the answer to number 1, 10 is 25% of the number 40. Okay, make sure you have everything copied here before you move on. And again, I'm not able to cover up the previous information, so you may need to pause this and cover up the answers for the got it so that you can actually try them by yourself. But at the top, I went over example 2, and I broke this step into step 1, step 2, step 3 using the double number lines. Okay, so your step 1 with the country music download problem is to model, start off 75%. You need to find a scale to separate into equal parts for your percent. In this case, they've divided it into 4 equal parts, 0, and then they are counting up by 25% all the way to 100%. Since you know that 75% matches with 90, you can see on the bottom number line that the 75%, I've drawn my purple line to show you 75% matches with 90. Okay, they found the intervals. You can see the red arrows as they're jumping, telling you that they're adding 30 each time. You can see in the blue box that I have circled for step number 3 that they said 90 divided by 3 is 30 in order to figure out your intervals. Okay. Then step number 4 is what matches up with 100%. Okay, make sure you have everything copied on this page. Again, having some trouble with recording, so make sure that you have everything copied, and if it was not explained in the video because of recording issues, we will go over it in class. You can see the guidance have been done for you, and you can check your answers for A, B, and C. There is an explanation for part C drawn there, and I can explain any of those to you a little more clearly in class. Once you've copied everything, make sure you move to the next page, but not until you've copied everything. Again, sorry about the issue with recording, but this is the other way you must understand how to find percent problems. You have to know the percent proportion, which they've written for you, and they have nice colors to help explain. The part to the whole on the left, and then you have your part to the whole on the right representing the percent. And remember, percent literally means per 100. Okay, so example 3, the question is 15 is 30% of what number? So in this case, you are trying to find the whole. If you have 3 out of the 4 pieces, then you're able to find the missing piece. So you can see how this is set up. The part is 15, the whole is what you're looking for. That's your left side. On the right side, since you know the percent is 30%, you're going to write 30 over 100. Okay, so if you look in the step underneath the boxed in information where I wrote number 1, that's your first step. You set it up, and then you have to realize what's the relationship between the 2 that you have on the top or either the 2 that you have on the bottom. In this case, you have the 2 on the top, and you have to figure out how to go from 15 to 30, or you can move backwards from 30 to 15. In this case, I'm saying, hey, 15 times 2 would give me 30. Now I'm moving the other direction. I know 100, and I have to move back the other way, so that means I'm going to divide. 100 divided by 2 would be 50. And they show you that information there in blue, so the answer is 15 is 30% of 50. Make sure you have this copied before you move on. Number 4 is an example where you are filling in the blanks. The blanks have been filled in for you. 225 is 75% of what number? So you're filling in the percent, which is 75 over 100. You are trying to find the whole. You know the part 225, but you don't know the whole. That's what you're trying to find. Once you can find the relationship between 225 and 75, then you're good. That's shown to the left in the blue writing, and I filled in the blank with the 3. Right? So the answer is 225 is 75% of 300. The whole would be 300. And again, because of the recording issues, you now already can see the answers to the guidance you should be trying on your own. Okay? So make sure you can get the answers like you see here for D through G. I've also shown my work for D through G how to set up the percent proportion, the part to the whole, and the information of how I found the relationship to find what's missing. But in all of these, you have to know how to find the whole. The standard only calls for you to know how to find the whole, but technically you really could find any missing piece if you're given 3 out of the 4, and you will work with that next year. Any of them could be missing. Make sure you've copied all the information on this page, including the correct answers and the steps of how to get those answers. Once you've done that, move on. The last example, number 5, is talking about how pennies were made. And again, we're setting up the part to the whole with the percent, and you are trying to find the whole. That's what's missing for you once you set up your problem with what you're given in the situation here. Okay, so your step number 1 is to set up the proportion. Step number 2 is find that relationship between the two numbers you have on the top as your numerators. Once you know that, in this case it says times 3, you can find your whole, which in this case is 300. Okay? Now it's your turn, and there are no answers, so you will be able to do them on your own. Show me your work, and we will go over these answers in class. So this is your time to stop, do numbers 1 through 5. We will check these in class. You get credit for copying the notes exactly as they were shown into your workbook, and you also get credit for doing each of the 5 problems before we go over the answers in class. Okay, so yes, this is for a grade. The first 2 problems, look back if you need help in your book, in your notes with the double number lines. You have to know this method. Numbers 3 and 4 require you to set up the percent proportion, so look back at the examples if you need to. Question number 5 is finding the original cost, which again is finding one of the missing parts. Make sure you rate yourself when you're done, and we will check this in class tomorrow. And in honor of Star Wars coming out soon, here's Yoda. I won't do my Yoda voice, but may the Force be with you while you're doing your guided practice. Good night, Miss Gregory.